a platform like Huzi is meant to be a reflection of the user. And so I want whatever you think the user persona we want to take on here. Okay, you can see this screen here with the Spark pad
Yes.
and whatnot.
Yep.
Morning, Eric.
Got
So
it.
the difference between like a Huzi and a ChatGPT, first of all, I'm not knocking any of the products. They're all amazing. They're continually getting better. One of the things that we're trying to focus in on, first of all, is data safety and security and privacy. Not every platform that you go and use today is going to be representative of your fiduciary responsibilities in this industry. And a lot of agents are not thinking about that. They're entering contact information, addresses, P&Ls, tax returns, listing reports, all that stuff that has got contact information and your customer's information. You shouldn't be doing that stuff. So just as a side note, we're actually even pursuing, we just started this week, our type 2 SOC 2 accreditation and certification and full audits. So it's a safe, secure platform. We're not taking your information and putting it anywhere else. Second of all, we're trying to consolidate tech stacks. So those of you who've got a preference towards using DeepSeek or Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT models, we're consolidating those and putting them in one platform. Grok will be in here this next week. And so, taking the different personalities of these different models, the different trading
Eric, is there any other tool? Is there any other tool that puts all the models in one place?
There's starting to be some, because I think that is a huge, important part. But hyper personalization is the second thing, or specialization. So it's one thing to have a model. It's another thing to have it tuned and trained and specialized for real estate, as an example, or plumbing, or whatever it is. Because the last thing you want to do is get more generic advice.
Right. And so whereas Huzi is built specifically for the residential industry.
Yeah, we have a version of it that is specifically exactly. So if you click the boxes, you sign up, and with John, your platform is the version for real estate. So Danielle has a great example that if you understand that large language models aren't grounded in truth, they're grounded in patterns, and you want to represent the patterns that's most likely to get you the best result for your specific industry. So, that's why when you go to ChatGPT and you say, hey, the cow jumps over it'll say moon. But if you had an AI that was built for farms and ranches, in Danielle's example, it might say gate or fence or puddle or something like that, right? More relevant. So that's the important thing to think about. And so that's a big one, safety, security, but most importantly, like you see here, connected to files and contacts. So as you said before, I'm just going to talk to Huzi for a second. Hey, Huzi, I'm kind of out of some prospecting ideas today. And look through my database, give me 5 people that I should call today, tell me why I should call them, and make it relevant to what's happening in today's world in real estate. So just whatever you want. I'm just trying to quickly show that you can, talk to Huzi in a way that just kind of makes sense with you, the way you think, the way your brain is organized, and then you can get access like this, right? So this sort of relationship with an AI model is different than sitting down and chat with GPT and say, act as a marketer and right? So think of Huzi as your personal assistant with the things that are important, not just a tool that you delegate things to. Does that make sense, first of all?
1,000%. And like I said, it becomes that first assistant that you can have a conversation with, that can actually go out and execute, which is one of the biggest problems that we see, is just an execution problem. And now you have an assistant that can execute.
And that's the thing. I love a CRM. A good team is obviously going to be a good, user of a CRM, but most agents aren't, and most teams aren't, and CRMs are clunky and expensive. So the AI, you just have kind of another way of viewing your contacts and how you use them. And we're going to, run adjacent to some CRMs, but this is way better for me, the way my brain thinks, than any CRM. So I could do something like, Huzi, I met a new contact today at an open house. Their name is Bob Swanson. Phone number is 503-662-1846. Make a note in the notes that they have a daughter named Amanda, a dog named Brutus, and I want to follow up with them next Thursday to talk about buying a house in Lake Oswego. Right. So part of the issue with CRMs too is, how do you get the freaking information in there? And you got to go back to your desk, sit down, enter it in, blah, 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 blah. You tell Huzi, it adds a contact record. It makes notes that you gave it. It gives me the ability to add that reminder to my calendar to when to follow up with them. And I'm done in 5 seconds. Right. So yes, it's an interface similar to ChatGPT, but the way you approach it is just, I think, is obviously completely different. right?
This is a really good example. We started the call saying like, do things better than you have. Well, actually it's the opportunity to do the things you never did do. Like this right here.
You didn't even do it. Come on, Danielle.
It's the perfect example of where you're
Do it,
like, oh my
baby.
God, if I only had the time, I have this thought in my head, but there's so much friction.
Yeah.
And then Eric just.
And just knowing people, again, the relationship with the software is supposed to be different. So instead of being receptive, we do things like you click the little Spark suggestions. And now Huzi is also taking the leadership role. It knows what you're working on. It understands the context of your current conversation, and then gives you additional things to think about, to ask, or like, here we go. There we go. So, I could just continue to work on and just have Huzi lead me through things should I want to. So that's the Spark Pad. We're really proud of it. There's a lot of nice features, like just to a conversation. If you want to add a book like Alex Hormozi Leads, I click this and now you can see this conversation is going to now give me responses as if the AI has read the book, $100 million leads. And so it's now working with me that way. If I want to part of this conversation, let's say now that they've written an offer, I can go in through and find my offer. And by the way you get an offer is you just drag and drop it into the file. Let's say add the file. This offer is a real offer to my conversation. And now my AI has read the offer and is good to go. You can see right here. Now I can do anything like say, hey, Huzi, read the file on the offer for Bybee Street. Give me a quick deal summary on this and let me know if there's any personal property that's in the offer. And so the AI now kind of adds as your, personal assistant with anything from files to images to contacts to being able to search the internet, so on and so forth. And this is an accurate representation, by the way, of what's in that offer. So it did exactly what I asked for. That make sense, you guys?
Yeah. So what's awesome about this platform is this is Huzi plus Kitchen. So you see that handsome face on the left-hand side there. It's for your entire audience here who has leaned into you, Coach Kitchens, right? And all those times that they thought, if only I had him sitting next to me, I got to build out that SOP, right? If only I had Coach Kitchens walking me through this process to build out this SOP. So, we've spent a lot of time with your team to develop those mini GPTs, those workflows to guide the users through step by step what thought processes they should be going through to build out and scale their business with intention and real clarity. This is incredible.
Joel, touch on that. I mean, we identified those first key custom Sparks, the way to think about it, right? If you're familiar and, with Chat GPT, custom GPTs, but being able to really think about it with those customs, we took into consideration kind of the key struggles that we see with a lot of agents.
Yeah. And so you can see like people don't buy coaching, they buy the coach. We all know this. And you buy John and Joel and the system here because it represents the knowledge base and the strategies that you need. And so AI without that, I think, is missing the point. So this is why we looked at the obstacles of the way. So now we can take the strategies and whatnot that you guys coach and train on, add them into a toolkit here. And now the people that buy Huzi through you get this different version. So now they have the additional access to this sort of thing 24/7 that helps them do things in the way that you're teaching them and coaching them. And you actually give them some more time in the day, not just another great idea. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference between the two here. So we're going to continue to work with you on developing these and getting these to do the types of things that, like, again, you're passionate about helping teams grow and scale. So that toolkit will be reflective of that for your members.